A lot of people ask, Mr. Duncan, can you please give us one piece of advice for those who are thinking of starting their own live stream? Okay, this is one very important piece of advice. Always make sure you have a poop before you start your live stream. There is nothing worse than doing a live broadcast without having first had a poo. Honestly, I'm not joking. So there it is. That's top of my list. Oh, here we go then. Yes, we are all here together again. It is another English Addict live stream coming to you from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be England. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. I hope you are having a super duper day wherever you are watching in the world. Can I say hello to you? Wherever you happen to be right now. Maybe you are in England. Maybe you are somewhere in Europe. Maybe you are in South America. Or maybe China. Or maybe Malaysia. Or maybe Australia. Or perhaps Vietnam. Wherever you are in the world right now, can I say a big hello to you as well? Here we go. Ooh. Did you see me on Wednesday, by the way? For those who are wondering, I am now doing my live streams twice a week. So it would appear that there are still people who don't realise that we are doing it twice a week. So on Sunday, like now, for example, you are here now with me on Sunday. And also on Wednesday as well. I am with you from 2 p.m. UK time. So both of those live streams, the same time, 2 p.m. UK time is when I am on. For those who don't realise or have not yet realised that I am on twice a week. Every single Sunday and Wednesday I am with you live on YouTube. So here we go. For those who have missed my warm greeting from last week, can I say to all those who haven't received my congratulations and good wishes, can I wish you all a happy new year? Happy New Year to those who haven't received my best wishes yet. And there they were. I hope you enjoyed them. Were they satisfactory? Did you enjoy my best wishes for this year? Even though we are now 10 days into the new year, things aren't going great. I think it would be fair to say that things are not going great so far around the world, and we are only 10 days into 2021 and things have been very weird. Do you need me to mention the things that have happened this week? Well, first of all, we are still in lockdown here in England, and it would appear now they are saying that we might actually be in lockdown until March. And of course, something happened in the United States as well this week. I'm sure you don't need me to talk about it, even though I might mention it a little bit later on. Oh, look out the window, everyone. Oh, I've got to say, before I go any further, would you like to have a look out of my window? It is a lovely day today in England, and there it is, a live view looking out of my studio window across towards a place called Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury is the main town in this particular area where I live, and there is the view right now. You might notice in the distance there is also some snow on the high land, and you can see the churches and also one or two buildings that are situated in Shrewsbury. If you ever get a chance to come to England, I suggest that you should also go and visit Shrewsbury as well, because it is a rather nice place, to be honest with you. I do suggest that you spend at least maybe 2 days to explore the beautiful surroundings of not only Shropshire, which is the county in which I live, but also Shrewsbury as well. You might also want to come and visit me here in Much Wenlock. Oh, Mr. Duncan, are you really inviting us round to your house? We can't believe it. Anyway, here we are. Enough of that. We have the live chat. Oh, hello to the live chat. I suppose the big question is, who was first on today's live chat? Oh, I can see who has a fast finger today. A very fast finger. Vitas. Congratulations, Vitas. You are first on today's live chat. Ooh. Fancy pants. Also we have Luis Mendez and Shirin. Hello, Shirin. Jimmy from Hong Kong. Hello to you as well. Hello, Ricardo, Valentin. Also we have Valeria, Christina. By the way, we are going to take a look in your drawers later on. There are 2 ways of taking that, by the way. When I say drawers, I mean the things where you keep things. Normally in your kitchen area, you might have cupboards and drawers. So a little bit later on, we are going to take a look at your messy storage spaces, because it's something we mentioned last week, and I actually received some photographs. I can't believe it. I actually got some photographs of your junk, all of the things that you put somewhere because you think maybe one day they will be useful. So we all have them in our houses. I'm sure somewhere in your house there is a space or a place where there is lots of junk, stuff that you no longer use, but maybe one day you might use it again, you see. So you put it somewhere safe. And then over time, you collect lots and lots of junk. I will give you a little example. I will show you my drawer. So this is the drawer that is actually in our kitchen. Would you like to see it? Here it is. So there it is, to give you an idea of what I will be showing later on. So that is my junk drawer. Can I let you in on a secret? In my studio, I have about maybe 4 or 5 junk drawers. Because in my studio, I have lots of things that I sometimes use. And when I'm not using them, I have to put them in a safe place. So in my studio, I do have lots of junk, things that I use maybe once or twice, and then I have to put them away somewhere. So maybe they are not junk. Perhaps they are just things that are not useful at the moment. But who knows? Later on, they might actually be useful, you see? Some people don't like throwing things away. I don't like wasting food. I'll be honest with you. One of the things I really hate is when people waste food. I don't like it at all, if I was honest with you. And sometimes I don't like throwing things away, especially if I think later they might be useful, you see? So that's the reason why I do it. Hello to Florence. Hello to Irene. Hello, Belarusia. Belarusia, can I say a special hello to you? I received an email from you asking me to say hello to your cousin, or was it your niece? But you asked me to say hello to her. The only problem is I don't know her name, you see, so I can't say hello to her because I don't know her name. So Belarusia, can you please tell me what your relation's name is? I think it was your niece. I think so. Carlos. Hello, Carlos. Do you live in Wales, Mr. Duncan? I live very near, very close to the border of Wales. So from my window, for example, I can actually see Wales. Would you like to have a look at some snow on the mountains in the distance? So these are some views that I filmed this morning from my window. So here they are. So there is one of them. So that is actually this morning. You can see it's still very cold here, and there is still a lot of snow on the hills. So those are some hills around maybe 8 or maybe 9 miles away from where I live, but I can see them very well from the top of my stairs in the house. So you can see we still have a lot of snow covering the landscape. There is still quite a lot of snow covering the area in which I live. And there is another view looking into the distance. So that particular area is called the Long Mynd. The Long Mynd. And, well, it basically means long mountain. That is it. Long Mynd. The Long Mountain. And we have one more view as well. So these are all this morning. These are all views from the house. And there you can see once again one of the very high mountains. And if you look very closely, you can see people walking up the mountain. So you have to look very closely, but you will be able to see some people actually going up the mountain. It's true. I will move it back for you and show it you again. So look very closely. You will be able to see there are some people moving around on the mountain top. So there it was this morning. We still have a lot of snow on the ground in the area where I live. Ooh, welcome to English Addict, by the way. Nice to see you here today. I hope you are having a good time. I'm not too bad, thank you very much. I can't complain, I will be honest with you. Even though at the moment some people might say that there are many reasons to complain. Well, I am trying my best. I will try my best not to complain about anything. However, I can't say the same thing about Mr. Steve because we do have Steve coming up later on as well. Mr. Steve will be here with us. He was out in the garden during the week. Now, we did have a little bit of snow on Wednesday, and Mr. Steve was outside in the garden. So there is the view on Wednesday. And if you look closely, you might be able to see Mr. Steve wandering around. There he is. Mr. Steve, can you see us? We are watching you. So there is Mr. Steve. He was doing a little bit of gardening. And one of the amazing things about this is that it was very early in the morning. So Steve got up very early to do a little bit of gardening. And even though it was cold, even though the snow was falling, he still went outside to do some gardening. In a moment, I hope Mr. Steve will say hello. Steve, we're watching you. Can you see us? Ah, yes, we are watching you, Steve. Yes. Come on. I think Mr. Steve is feeling a little bit cold there. Stop pretending to say hello to the neighbours. And that was Mr. Steve this week, doing a little bit of gardening in the freezing cold weather. Oh, fancy pants. Can I say hello to Yusuf? Hello, Yusuf. Oh, by the way, today we are going to do something we haven't done for a long time. Something around about 3 o'clock. We will be doing something that we haven't done for a long time. I wonder if you can guess what it is. So today at 3 o'clock, we are going to do something that we haven't done for ages. We have the sentence game coming up today. We will also be looking at words that are often misspelt. So I suppose one of the questions I could ask now, is there a word that you often misspell? Is there a word that you often misspell? So when you misspell something, it means you spell the word incorrectly. Misspell. You spell something wrong. You put maybe the wrong letters in the wrong place. Or maybe you leave out certain letters from the word. Or maybe you add words or letters that don't even belong there. So is there a word in the English language that you often misspell? Now, I must be honest with you. I think everyone, including me, by the way, I also make spelling mistakes. So it doesn't mean that you don't know English. It doesn't mean that you are, I was going to say stupid, but it doesn't mean that, you see. So even if you misspell words, it doesn't mean that you don't know English. Because I do it, you do it, many teachers, quite often if they are writing on the blackboard, they will write very quickly, and sometimes you can make a mistake. So everyone does it. So is there a particular word in English that you often misspell? Oh, Wazi Aldine says receive. Ah, that is a good one. Yes, receive. Quite often people will put the I and the E the wrong way round. Yes, so receive is a good example of that. So there are some words that you can probably spell wrong. In fact, Sam says, sometimes the word probably confuses me. I often write the P instead of B. Probably, maybe, perhaps there is a chance of it happening, or maybe a small chance of something happening. Probably. Victoria. Victoria says, I have difficulty with the word intriguing. Well, I can say that you have spelt it right on the live chat. So on the live chat, you have spelt it correctly. Yes, so well done. Intriguing. Sometimes when a word has a silent letter, it can mislead you. It can cause you to misspell a certain word. So yes, sometimes if there is a silent letter. Another good one, I'm trying to think now of a word. There are words that are used in other languages as well that might be used in English. One word that I can never spell, silhouette. Silhouette is a very hard word to spell, and I never spell it correctly. It's true. Christina gives some very good advice. Mr. Duncan, if you write down the words that you often misspell, I think it is a useful way to learn them. you are right. In fact, that is one of the many pieces of advice that I often give you when we talk about learning English. Maybe if there is a word that you often misspell, perhaps you can write it down, or maybe you can write it down many times. So the more you write it down, the more it will stay in your brain. So basically, that's how we all learn to spell anyway. I remember when I was at my junior school, we used to write words all the time. So maybe there were some words that the teacher would show us on the blackboard, and then we would have to write them down. But then the teacher would say, write the word 10 times or 20 times. So you would write the word many times. And as I've said before, when you write down something, you are using a different part of your brain, a part of your brain that you don't normally use when you read. So when you write something, you are using your brain in a different way. And yes, it is a good way of remembering words. You are right. Adequate. Oh, Marmad. Hello, Marmad. Adequate. Yes, another good word that might be misspelled if you do it quickly. Adequate. So adequate, do you have enough? Is there enough? Is that adequate? Will I be able to do something with that amount? Is it adequate? Is it enough? Thank you very much for all those writing down silhouette for me. It doesn't make any difference. I will still probably spell it incorrectly, to be honest. I think so. Oh, rhythm. Yes, rhythm is also a very interesting word. Rhythm. Rhythm is a very unusual word because there are no vowels in the word. Did you know that? So rhythm is a very unusual word because there are no vowels contained within that word. Charlotte says taught, taught, and also tough. In fact, I would say that many words that end with GH, so words that end with GH, can quite often be hard to spell, but also they can be hard to pronounce as well. I think so. Very good. Hello, Predator. Oh, Predator says debt, debt. So if you owe money to someone, maybe you have to pay your bills, but you forget. So then you get into debt. Debt. Yes. So that is another one that can be very hard to spell because it has a silent letter. Yes, you are right. Very good. We will be looking at some words right now that are often misspelt. So if you would like to see this video, and maybe you can watch it again later on my YouTube channel, you actually can. So here it is, a video all about the subject we have just been talking about, which is misspelling. Do you ever spell words incorrectly? Do you ever get them wrong? Well, if you do, I hope the following video will be useful to you. And then after this, yes, he's back. Mr. Steve will be joining us in 5 minutes from now. English, just like any other language, has its quirks and idiosyncrasies. That is to say, the language is not perfect. Similar sounding words and odd grammatical clauses, not to mention the odd spelling of certain words, can lead to confusion, even for native English speakers. Today I'm going to look at some commonly used English words that even those speaking English as a first language often get wrong. Our first commonly misspelt word is necessary. The word necessary is one of the most commonly misspelt words in English. This is due to the use of single and double letters within the word, namely the single C and the double S. Our second misspelt English word is definitely. This is a word that catches many people out, mainly due to the sound of the third syllable, which sounds like the letter A. This leads many people to mistakenly replace the I with an A. Remember, there is no A in definitely. There is definitely no A in definitely. Our third misspelt English word is fascination. This word catches many people out due to the occurrence of the letter S and C being placed together. Many people leave out the letter S altogether. Whilst we are talking about occurrence, the word occurrence itself is another English word that is often spelt incorrectly. Occur has one R and two Cs. Occurred, occurring, and occurrence have two C's and two R's. Another commonly misspelt English word is separate. It is a common mistake to add an extra E to the word by replacing the middle A. Again, the pronunciation of separate can be misleading, especially so in this case as the word can be pronounced in more than one way. Two things can be apart or separate. You can separate two things, which means to split or divide. Separate, separate. Our final misspelt word today is psychology. This is a real stinker of a word to spell because it contains not one but two silent letters. The P and H are silent. Another good example of this occurrence is psychiatric. At the end of this lesson you will see a list of other commonly misspelt English words. How many of them do you get wrong? You might be surprised to learn that many people make spelling mistakes. Even I have been known from time to time to make the occasional faux pas or blunder whilst writing. For most of the time it is due to a slip of the finger on the computer keyboard, or at least that's my excuse. Spelling mistakes are nothing to be ashamed of, as we all make them from time to time. I hope this lesson has been helpful to you, and I will see you again soon for another English lesson. This is Mr. Duncan in England saying ta-ta for now. So in that video you saw lots and lots of English words that people often misspell. So I hope that video was useful to you, and you can watch it again and again as many times as you want, because it will be here forever on my YouTube channel.
Hello!
Here he is.
Greetings and welcome from myself, Mr. Steve. Hello. How are you, Mr. Duncan?
I'm okay. Would you like a round?
I didn't know.
Would you like a round of applause?
Of course.
A round of applause for Mr. Steve, please.
Oh, it's so wonderful to be here, Mr. Duncan, yet again on this slightly cold Sunday afternoon.
Now, we were going to go outside today. I was thinking about it. I was going to do today's live stream from outside, but I suddenly changed my mind because I realised it's still bloody cold outside. It's freezing cold, and there is still snow as well. I was showing some pictures earlier, Steve. So look, we still have snow around here. So there is one view, Steve. There
up on the hills.
Yes, in the distance.
Not in our garden. It's all gone.
Yes.
But of course, compared to somewhere like Spain at the moment,
yes.
I mean, a few people have mentioned the snow in Spain.
It's dreadful.
I think it was Marietta, who presumably is in Spain. They've had probably record snow. Have you in Spain? I don't think I've ever seen the news where they're describing the amount of snow that you've had in Spain, because it's very unusual to have snow in Spain. You've had more than we have, which is very unusual.
So we still have some snow on the high ground, but most of it now has gone. So there it was this morning. That was the view this morning from the window at the top of our stairs, and you can see in the distance there is still a lot of snow around on the high ground. But can I just say hello to those watching in Spain? I know you have had a lot of snow. Also, Japan. Can I say hello to Japan as well? Japan has also had lots of snow, very heavy snow. Right. So even though we have had some snow...
A little.
But not much.
No.
Not much.
Half an inch, maybe a centimetre at the most.
Certainly not as much as Spain and Japan, and also other parts of the world as well.
Kurdistan, says Yusuf. It's snowing there as well.
Oh.
But yes, I mean, it's very unusual to get snow. Probably no one is watching in Spain today because they're all out playing in the snow.
Maybe.
I would imagine, because it probably won't be around for long. They're probably building snowmen, sledging. We saw images of people sledging or sledding in Spain. Can you actually buy sleds or sledges in Spain? Obviously you can, but I wouldn't have thought there were very many for sale.
Yes.
Because normally you wouldn't have a use for them.
No, not normally.
Is it sledding or sledging?
But I think in the north of Spain you can sometimes get snow. So yes, but we certainly have had a lot of snow around the world. Amongst other things, I believe you have some important information to give us as well.
Yes, Madrid. Yes, 50 years they haven't had. I've been to Madrid.
Oh, okay.
I went to Madrid. Sorry, before I say the next thing, I went to Madrid with my company. I won a trip because I'd done well in sales. This was many years ago, probably I would say 24, 25 years ago, probably. And we went to Madrid, and it was the cleanest city I've ever been to.
Brilliant.
It was amazing. And we went to see a football match at the Real Madrid stadium, and it was. You know what it's like before you go into a football stadium? Well, You probably don't know.
Well,
I'm only joking. There's lots of people selling things. There's lots of litter and dirt. Anyway, and rubbish. When we came out, it was spotless.
yes.
All these machines had been there cleaning up. And I'll always remember it being incredibly clean place, Madrid. We wanted to go on that incredibly fast train that goes from Madrid to somewhere. It sort of goes 200 miles an hour. I can't think where it goes now. But a very hot place in Spain.
Okay.
Oh, I can't think of the name of it now, but we didn't have time for that. But yes.
That's good. So half of a story there from Mr. Steve.
Name another Spanish city. I can't think of a very hot
I would
Spanish
love to,
city.
but unfortunately
We haven't got time.
we've got other things to do, Steve.
Yes, Moises says that they have coronavirus.
Oh my goodness.
So, our best wishes to you and hope you make a speedy recovery.
Yes.
But they've said that they're staying positive
Yeah.
and watching you.
You're in
today.
the
Us.
best place. This is the best place to be. If you want positivity, 100% guaranteed.
95.
Okay.
95.
Well, now Mr. Steve has arrived. It might be 70 or 80%.
It's dropped a bit
Yes.
since I've come on, definitely.
Definitely.
But yes, Carlos asks as well, are we in Wales? Well,
We are not
very close, very close.
I did actually answer this earlier.
Oh,
But we are very close to Wales. So Wales is kind of towards, I suppose, the west of the UK. And we are kind of in the middle of the UK. So where we are is near the middle. But yes, we do have Wales on our doorstep.
in fact, probably those pictures you showed of the hills covered in snow, that's probably in Wales, is it? Or very close to Wales?
That's actually the Long Mynd.
Which is not quite in Wales, but
No.
very, very, probably a mile away.
So the Long Mynd or Long Mountains are actually near the Welsh border. So we are actually going towards Wales with those images we looked at earlier. We have the sentence game coming up later on. Also, we are going to do something at 3 o'clock that we haven't done for a long time.
Strip off,
Have we
teach
ever,
some English.
have we ever Okay. Have we ever done that? Have we ever stripped our clothes off on the live stream?
Not live. We're not going to do it today.
We are
I
not.
haven't shaved, so it
Okay.
wouldn't look very nice.
Shaved? Okay. There's no answer to that.
Tomek says, was it Seville, Barcelona or Valencia? I can't remember now which city it was that connected this very fast train that they have in Spain.
But it was hot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Madrid was lovely. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I would go back there. We went to a disco or a dance club one night, and it was underground. It was like we were deep underground in these cellars. It was quite an experience.
Actually, come to think of it, you've been on holiday or been to different countries when I've not been with you. Because of course I was in China, so Steve has had quite a few opportunities through his company and also through his singing activities to actually travel to other parts of the world. So yes, it's quite interesting. We were talking today, by the way, about spelling. We must get back onto our topics.
I hope you're not going to test me, Mr. Duncan.
I am not going to test you.
Thank goodness for that.
But I was mentioning earlier that there are words that we all get wrong quite often. And another good word someone said earlier is fascinate. Fascinate. That is a good word, and one many people get wrong. So that's another good suggestion.
Do they put an S in there by mistake?
No, there is an S at the beginning. It's S and C, you see.
Ah, yes, of course.
So a lot of people will miss they sometimes miss the S and sometimes they miss the C, but they are both in the word fascination. So the second and third letter, or should I say the third and fourth letter. Yes, very good. No, I wasn't going to test your spelling, Steve. That would be so cruel.
It would be cruel.
Because we all do it. We all make mistakes when we are spelling words. I do, Steve does, and quite possibly you do as well. Do you
Tomek wants me to strip off, but somebody said they've already seen us on YouTube with our tops off. So I don't know where that is. I think Predator said it before it was retracted. But it doesn't matter, we don't mind.
Can I just say, I don't think, I'm pretty sure we've never appeared naked on YouTube.
Not naked, maybe with our tops off. Is there something on YouTube with our...
No.
Really?
No. Definitely not. Maybe you. Maybe there is that I remember there was a video once of you hanging up the washing with no top.
Really?
So we could see your rippling torso.
Oh, yes.
Your bulging, what are those? Pectorals.
Yes.
And your six-pack. I think so.
It's a one-pack at the moment.
You might not realise.
Christmas.
You might not realise this, but Mr. Steve, he's a bit of a hunk.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
He hides it well.
Well, I've got clothes on. Anyway, today's my birthday, says Alia.
Are you sure?
Unless it's the fake birthday person, is it?
It's not Partap.
Partap. Alia Tanvir.
Alia Tanvir, is it your birthday or are you Partap? Pretending. So we will have to see. I'm not accusing you of anything.
But we'll say happy birthday.
We'll say happy birthday anyway.
To be on the safe
to
side.
Alia Tanvir.
Tomek says, oh, go on.
Happy birthday to you.
If it's a real birthday, which I'm sure it is.
I'm pretty sure it is a real birthday.
But we have got somebody, Partap, did you say, who tries to catch me out every week by saying it's his birthday or her birthday, which is a bit of fun, which we like, which is fine.
Steve, do you remember on our last live stream of 2020, we were talking about something? Do you remember the subject? We were talking about...
Was it me?
We were talking about New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
And do you remember the conversation we had?
Oh, yes. The conversation you had, whereas your aim...
Yes, wait there, because I've got a video clip.
Okay.
We don't need you to say it live, you see, because we have this video clip right here.
What are your New Year's resolutions, Mr. Duncan? Have you thought of any that you want to...
I did mention mine earlier. My biggest resolution for 2021 is to stay alive. I think that's a pretty good one. Now, last year, at the end of last year, I didn't really worry about that because we didn't have anything going on, you see. But this year, I would just like to stay healthy and alive. I think that's a pretty good thing to aim for, considering.
It's very sad to say my goal for 2021 is to survive.
Is it sad?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's assume... Well, I think you need to assume you're going to survive.
Yeah.
And then... You know, if your goal is just to stay alive, I mean that would indicate that you're living in a world of peril.
Well,
that the only because if all you think about is survival,
we are.
But if all you think about is survival, we hope to not worry about survival.
Steve, have you seen the news recently? You know, I was so engrossed in that, I started watching it. So there it is. So that is what we were talking about on the last live stream of last year. And you said it was a strange thing.
Well, yes, Adam says it is as well.
But I think it's a reasonable thing considering what's happened already this year. We're only 10 days, Steve, 10 days into 2021. And already the world has gone to hell in a handcart.
Really?
Yes. Well,
is it that bad? Is it that much worse than it was in December?
We are in lockdown, so that wasn't happening.
No.
So lockdown started with the arrival of the new year. So I think I had a very good point. I think my point about having my New Year's resolution as staying alive is actually pretty good. I feel as if I've been vindicated.
Why don't you say, instead of saying staying alive, why don't you say avoid catching coronavirus?
Well, yes, I suppose so. But you see, if you do catch it, then suddenly you are at risk, you see. So something bad might happen to you.
Well, don't say that.
Yeah.
Moises has caught it.
Well,
I'm sure they will be perfectly fine.
Yes.
Most people recover.
Yes.
And by watching us, of course, that will boost your immune system.
Yes. All of the positive vibes. We are going to send positive vibes.
Jew Predator says, yes, survival is my New Year resolution as well. It doesn't matter that you're late.
Can you feel those positive vibes coming through?
We ought to say a disclaimer at this point that just watching us is not necessarily a cure for coronavirus.
No, watching our live stream is not a cure for coronavirus, okay?
We're not claiming that.
We're not saying
all.
that, but we are saying that we will send some warm...
You keep doing that, don't you? Rosa says, has the vaccine arrived in Much Wenlock? I don't think it has yet.
No. They're still bringing it here on horseback.
Yes, it'll take a while to get to Much Wenlock.
There's a little horse clip-clopping down the road with the vaccines strapped on its back. And so we have to wait for the horse to arrive.
Rather, they're going to take... they've got to... I hope that horse has got some cooling facilities because one of the vaccines has got to be stored at -80, apparently.
Yes. So one of them has to be stored at a very low temperature, but we might get the one that doesn't, you see. We might get the one that does not.
But, of course, our age group... We're not due to get a vaccine until probably June.
Because we are young, you see. We are so
fit, healthy, virile.
Young.
So they're rolling it out to the elderly and vulnerable first. People in nursing homes, care homes, that sort of thing. And then it'll be age-related.
Yes.
Risk groups, that sort of thing. So I don't think we're due to get it until at least June.
No. We're not old enough, you see. We're not vulnerable.
No.
Okay, well, maybe Steve is a little vulnerable because...
Emotionally vulnerable, Mr. Duncan.
Steve has a big birthday this year.
We'll talk about that.
So maybe after Mr. Steve's birthday, he might become a little bit vulnerable.
The thing is, no one will believe my age anyway. They'll all think, that's surely Mr. Steve, you can't be that old.
Yes.
Because obviously we look young, healthy and virile. That's just why we've got so many viewers. Only joking.
So my conversation before the new year about wanting to stay alive, I think it was a good thing, actually. I think I was right to say that. Do you remember last week we were looking inside people's cupboards and their drawers?
We were.
When I say drawers, I mean the place where they keep things, not their underwear.
D-R-A-W.
Yes. In fact, the spelling is the same.
E-S? Is there any...
No, I think the spelling is the same, isn't it?
D-R-A-W...
Anyway.
S. Is that right?
Yes. No, maybe.
That's supposed to be a lesson about spelling, Mr. Duncan.
No, it isn't a lesson about spelling. It's a lesson about misspelling. So that was pretty good.
I think that's yes.
Looking inside, Steve.
Yes.
We're moving.
Quick, move on.
Move on. We're looking inside our drawer. So this was our drawer last week. Lots of things in there, including Mr. Steve's father's balls, his golf balls.
Golf balls, yes.
Some super glue. Also a gas mask, some clothes pegs, and various other things as well. But now we have some photographs of our viewers' drawers.
Really? People have been sending us their drawers?
We have had photographs sent in to us of other people's drawers.
Wow, fascinating.
So here is Beata.
Right.
This is Beata. Thank you, Beata, for your drawer. And this looks very tidy.
Very neat and all well organised.
I have a feeling that you might be into crafting. So maybe you make things at home, craft. So you make maybe cards or decorations or maybe things made of cloth.
Maybe it's sort of your sewing drawer.
But Beata has made it very easy for us because she has told us what is in there.
Look at that.
Look at that. So thank you very much for going to so much trouble Look at that.
That's incredible. She
Yes.
knows everything that's in there. Fishing line.
So we have headlamp. I don't know. A headlamp is in there.
There's a headlamp.
When I say headlamp, I think they mean one of those torches that you wear on your head.
Oh, I see. Not a headlamp bulb
So that
from a car.
there is an old phone in there. Yes, I'm sure we all have somewhere in our house. We have maybe one or two phones, mobile phones that we no longer use. Also, some unicorn stickers. I have a feeling that Beata likes unicorns. I think so.
Right.
Because there seems to be a lot of unicorn-related stuff in her drawers.
This is fascinating.
So thank you very much.
What I find slightly disconcerting
Okay.
is the empty box of chocolates.
Is there?
Yes, top right.
Really? Oh, yes.
Empty box of chocolates.
You
That
got-
should be a full box of chocolates,
Yes.
Beata.
That should be a full box of chocolates. This does not look like a junk drawer. I agree. Yes, it looks too tidy.
It's very, very tidy.
However, we have one sent in to us from Christina. And yes, this is more like it.
This is what we want to see.
This is what we want to see. We want to see your junk. We want to see...
Look at that. Look at that screwdriver. It's got a very long shaft on the... I'm presuming that's a screwdriver.
It looks-
with the orange handle.
Yes.
That's for getting into screws that are a long way away.
Yes, or maybe in a very difficult place to reach.
We've got a ball of string just like that.
Yes, we've got a ball of string.
That's a nice calculator, well protected
Yes.
in its plastic sleeve.
Can you see the calculator? It does cosines.
It's a scientific calculator.
Yeah, it does cosines.
Whatever that is.
You could always tell that someone is clever if they have a calculator that does cosines. And maybe what's the other one? Algebra?
Yes, well, yes, you've got square roots there. I can't
Okay.
actually focus in on that from there, but it's yes, that's got a few extra features. So
That is
interesting.
that's a very posh. That's a very posh
We've
calculator.
got string, odd cables,
USB cable.
Lots of people. That's two people with USB cables.
Yes.
We've got a ball of string just like that. I think I already said that. Very interesting.
Yes.
Yes,
Here's
thank
another
you.
one. And this is Giovanni. Giovanni, thank you very much for yours. Oh, yes, this is a little bit messy. I think so.
But still got little compartments there.
There are some interesting things. There is a giant, that looks like a giant Lego brick.
Or is it, Mr. Duncan?
Is it?
Is it a Lego brick? Oh, I think you could be right.
Yes, I think it's Lego. And also there is some adhesive for sticking paper together. I can also see some string, also some hooks, and lots of things that you might find in someone's junk drawer.
A miniature spanner.
Oh yes, there's a little spanner. There's also a pair of pliers, which you can never find. Have you noticed? You can never find your pliers. There's always a certain tool in the house that you can't find when you want it. Anyway,
I've got a very useful. My sister. Do you want me to show it, Mr. Duncan? My useful toolkit.
no, because we haven't got time. We've got 2 minutes to go before 3.
And what happens at 3?
You can get it whilst we're doing the special thing at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yes.
I think
no
so.
problem at all, Mr. Duncan.
So what about you? Do you have a junk drawer? Do you have a place where you put all of your rubbish? I have many drawers here in my studio, lots of places where I put things that I don't use very often. Lots of cables.
Oh, lots of, Duncan has got more cables than a telecom engineer.
Yes. It's like I'm installing 5G across the world with all of the cables that I have in my studio.
Well, we said one day we would do a little video of when you set up
Yes.
to do a live stream outside. I mean, there's so many cables going out of the window here. You'd think there was some kind of power thing going on.
Power thing.
Power thing. I couldn't think of an analogy. Yeah, you'd think that you were wiring up something really complicated and expensive, which of course essentially it is.
Well, it is. It's a live broadcast studio.
But you would not think we're going to do that. We're going to do that when the weather's better.
Yeah.
We're going to film a setup of Mr. Duncan preparing for his live stream.
Yes, especially the one outside.
That's what I mean.
But even whilst we're standing here, I can see cables everywhere, even in the studio. There is lots of stuff connected up. Anyway, Steve, here we go. We're coming up towards 3:00. As 3:00 strikes, are you excited?
Well, I'm not sure what's coming, so I'm neither excited or not excited.
Something we haven't done for a long time. Something we haven't done for ages.
Flags of the world?
At 3:00.
No?
Yes, it might be. Steve, you might actually.
Well, is the person on that likes that?
The person is Pedro Belmont.
That's what I mean. Is Pedro on today?
Pedro is not on.
Well, he's going to miss maybe a treat.
But maybe, Pedro, you can watch it on the replay. Yes, it's 3:00 here in the UK, and it's time, after a long break, to take a look once more at those flags of the world.
Are we back?
We are back on. I hope you enjoyed
Caught
that.
me out there, Mr. Duncan. I was looking at the live stream and making notes.
Flags of the world.
Just like that.
If you want to see the flags of the world next week as well, please let me know. You know the address. I will put it on the screen now. So if you want to get in touch with my email address, there it is. My email address is now on the screen. You can stay in touch through my email address.
And if anyone knows Pedro, tell him it was on today.
Yes.
And if he's here next week, we'll play it again for him.
Perhaps, maybe, I was doing that just for Pedro, but also for all those who are fans of Flags of the World.
And maybe Flags of the Big Bang Theory, because Inigo has said that this hobby reminds them of the character Sheldon.
Sheldon?
Sheldon. Well, seldom. It's Sheldon, isn't it? Sheldon.
Sheldon.
From The Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Which is a comedy series from America, which we watch and have watched in the past. So, that is a well-referenced Inigo.
We used to watch The Big Bang Theory before it became rubbish. So we only watched up until season 4, but we never watched it after that because it wasn't as good, you see.
Going back to tidy drawers, Lewis says that he's disorganised in the house, but his car is neat and tidy.
Yes, that is interesting, though, because you know what I love doing? Can I just admit something? I love looking at other people's houses inside, their living conditions. I'm always interested to have a look. Whenever I go past someone's house, especially at night, when they have their lights on and maybe their curtains are open, I can never resist having a little peep, a little look.
Well, that's something. When we lived in Wolverhampton, we lived on a very big housing estate, and all these sort of little roads that led to the various houses and went past the houses were all very close to the front windows of the houses, weren't they? Because the gardens were very short. So you could sort of just walk along and just sort of peer in. And we used to be fascinated that even when it was dark, I would say the majority of people didn't close their curtains or pull their blinds down. So you could walk past, they had the lights on, they were just sitting there. You could see them watching the television, eating. Usually they were on their tablets.
Really?
Tablet devices, weren't they?
Not taking tablets.
Well, they might have been. but yes, it sort of amazed me that people would just sort of leave themselves wide open to view. Maybe they weren't expecting many people to walk past and it was dark.
It's not the people I'm looking at. It's actually the house, inside the house itself, the furniture and the decor. I'm always interested to see what people actually do in their house with their furniture and their decorating, you see. So it's not the people. I'm not going, what are they doing?
No, we're not spying. We're just interested in looking. Well, Mr. Duncan was on.
I think we have to make that clear.
We don't do it now because where we live now, everybody's got quite big front gardens and big hedges, so you can't really see.
You can't see in people's houses around here because they're all very prudish and private, you see.
Yes, well, Valeria, likes to go around looking at the decorations in the house to see what type of furnishings they have.
Yes.
Curtains, settee. But we're not going up to the window and staring in.
No, we're not looking right in.
We're just sort of walking past, not stopping, just, that's interesting. Did you see them there? They were eating crisps and on their tablet.
You've just reminded me of something. Do you remember that time we were walking around before we moved here to Much Wenlock? There was one night we were walking around and this young guy tried to run us over with his motorbike. And he actually he came towards me with his motorbike and tried to run us over because he thought we were burglars.
I don't remember that.
Don't you remember? Then we went around to their house. We found his bike.
Oh, yes.
We found his bike outside.
Yes.
And then we knocked on the door and said, "Look, your son just tried to run us over with his motorbike."
I remember now.
And then he had to come down and apologise to us.
And it turned out that they'd been burgled.
Yes.
Like a week or 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And so they were, I would say, he was probably a bit hyper. Sensitive to people walking around at night.
What a stupid thing.
Hypersensitive.
Yes,
hypersensitive.
But what a stupid thing to do.
I know, because, that's, he could have run us over, injured us.
He did. If you remember, I ended up on the floor in the road. I was actually on the road. He came towards me and ran his bike at me.
I don't remember that.
Yes, it was horrible.
I don't remember
but
that.
We went round to the house. We actually walked around until we found his bike outside the house.
Yes, he wasn't very good at covering up what he'd done.
No, he wasn't the brightest person. Not the brightest bulb on the tree, to be honest. But
if you commit a crime on a motorbike or a car, you don't just go home and park it outside your front door.
Yes. You don't try to run people over and then leave the vehicle.
I remember that now. Yes, it was. I mean, we were very brave to go round and confront them. I don't know that I would do that now.
It was around Christmas time because we
Yes.
were looking at people's lights as we were going round. But he started chasing us, and then
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on.
he tried to kill us with his motorbike.
I think he was trying to yes, and his mother was apologised and said because he was only about 16 or something.
Yes, well, he had to be over 17.
Okay.
17, probably 17.
His mother apologised, and so did he, because
Yes.
they'd been burgled, and so
But it's no excuse.
he was out looking for them and
You-
thought that we
look-
were the Well,
Bad things happen to everyone, but we don't go around trying to run them over.
I know, but haven't you found it strange? We both found it strange, Mr. Duncan, when we walk around with hats on like that.
Yes,
If you wear a baseball cap
like this.
in the UK, a baseball cap has a certain. It doesn't say sportiness in the UK. I think if you wear a baseball cap and you're walking around, people tend to be a bit afraid of you. It's a bit odd.
Or suspicious,
Suspicious. They think that you could be a criminal
or a bad person,
or a bad person.
which I like.
So when we are the complete opposite of bad people. You couldn't really, say that we were tough
No,
or in any way, shape or form.
I can give you a nasty slap.
But when
So if I ever get into a fight with you, I can give you a very nasty slap. I'll slap your face. I will.
But if we go out for a walk
Mm.
and we've got baseball caps on, you can see people sort of, shying away. They're actually
Yes.
a bit afraid of us. It's
Yes.
quite a nice feeling.
Especially at night. Well, imagine me coming towards you. I'm a 6 foot plus. So imagine me coming towards you, a big tall guy with a baseball cap on his head. So yes, maybe.
Zershid says, I'm a bit late, but happy to see you two again. Thank you very much. You can come on at any time you like.
Yes.
You fit this in around your life, and then if you don't see it all, you can always watch it later.
That's it. And don't forget, we are with you on Sunday and Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time. That is when you can catch us right here. We do have the sentence game coming up later on. I suppose there is something I have to mention. I know I probably shouldn't. I might get into trouble. But this week in the United States, something happened. Something that many people are surprised by, shocked by, quite outraged by. The storming of the Capitol building in Washington by what has been described as a mob, a group of people angry at something, and sadly there were some fatalities as well, including protesters and one police officer as well. So a very, very awful state. But the one thing I always consider during these times is a word that people often use, and that's tolerance. And I always find the word tolerance is a very strange word, because if you use it too often, you can actually get yourself into a little bit of a mess. And I call this, I actually have a name for this, I call it the tolerance paradox. So a paradox is something you can't get out of. It is something that makes no sense. The more you think about it, the more it makes no sense. So the tolerance paradox, to me, is the thing that I think of when I hear people talk about tolerance. Because if you are a person who is tolerant, but then you are intolerant towards people who are intolerant, doesn't that make you intolerant? Or if you are intolerant towards people who don't agree with what you think, are you intolerant? So I think sometimes tolerance is a thing that can go round and round and round, because if you try to make people tolerant, then maybe somewhere there will be some intolerance. Do you understand what I mean?
Not sure, Mr. Duncan. So you're saying that some people that say they're tolerant are intolerant to people who are not tolerant?
Yes. Well, you can't say that you
Are they?
Well, Well, yes, if you are intolerant towards someone, it means you have no understanding of their point of view.
I'll go along with you, Mr. Duncan. I'll agree.
But is this just my brain doing this? But I think so. I think tolerance is a word that is used a lot, but we rarely think about it in its logical way, which is where tolerance is everyone accepts everything or is willing to listen to each side of the argument, even if you don't agree with it. So as you know, Steve, I don't like censorship. I disagree with censorship very much. And there are many countries around the world, including one that I used to work in, a place I used to work in for many years, that is very, very much in favour of censorship. So this week, Twitter decided to take Donald Trump off their site. They cancelled his Twitter account. But what I find interesting is that might be a little intolerant of another person's point of view, even if they are, I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan, the things he says might cause people to commit crimes, but that's not what I'm on about. You can delete or block one individual tweet. You don't have to cut off the person completely. So I disagree all the time with what people say and think. I do, but I would never say that they can't do it. I would never take away a person's right to say something or express something. So there is a difference between those things. And I think that's why there is a bit of a paradox when we talk about tolerance. Tolerance is something where you are willing to listen to all sides of an argument, even if you disagree with it completely. You might still say, I disagree with that, but I would never say you should be censored or locked away or blocked or banned, you see? I
think there are limits to tolerance in society. I think you can't just accept everything. I think
no, add that
somebody is.
But you don't have to accept these things. But you don't block them or censor them or remove them or lock them away in a steel box because you don't like what they think. So that there is a difference, you see. There is a great expression that I heard many years ago. I might not agree with what you say, but I would defend to the death your right to say it. So there is a difference between those things. Would you say that?
Well, yes, it's a difficult one, this, Mr. Duncan. You've certainly opened a point of debate here.
Well, it interests me because in our lives...
But the thing is, the problem I have with people being able to express anything they want is, if it's rubbish and people believe what that person's saying, that can lead to consequences.
Yes.
So I think sometimes...
But then that person has the right to give their opinion or put them...
Yes, I know,
right.
but there's always the risk that you're influencing people who don't look at all the facts and information.
So what do you do then? Do you just say, I'm sorry, you don't have the right to speak. Other people do, but you don't. I'm sorry, you're gone.
I think if it's something that is going to potentially, for example... if it's incitement to cause violence.
Well, yes, but then you could just take away that tweet.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly, yes.
Gone.
But the thing is, I think once you've done that a few times and then... Because I think at first, what you're talking about there, that person was taken down, but then given another chance, but then they carried on doing it anyway. So... I didn't know you were going to get so heavy, Mr. Duncan, political.
We even put people in prison for serious crimes, but quite often they will be released later. So if that was the case, everyone who did anything wrong ever would be locked in prison forever and ever. But it doesn't work like that, you see. So I think expressing your opinions, the freedom of expression, especially on the internet, because let's not forget, the internet is not a place where people are policed. Would you say?
No, well, exactly. So I think just in freedom of speech is great as long as you don't let people who are deliberately trying to exploit that freedom
Yes.
for their own evil ends.
But again,
I think then you've got to do something about
but
it.
politicians do that all the time in various ways of getting people to think certain things or to have a certain opinion. So where do you stop? Where is the line? So now Donald Trump will just go somewhere else, and he will go somewhere that people can't see or see easily. So there are some websites now, Steve, where you can go and join, and you can say anything, and even stuff that might be considered extreme, you see? So I would rather see Donald Trump on Twitter coming out with rubbish than him disappearing to one of these other websites that aren't mainstream
Well, who knows?
and stirring up things we're not even aware of, you see. So that's just my thought. It came into my mind, and it's something that I often think about, because we have ourselves come up against a lot of intolerance in our lives, sometimes violently. So we have had violence.
Have we?
Yes. Have we
Are you
just
back to the motorbike?
No, we're on about people throwing rocks at us and calling us names.
Oh, yes, we've had that.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
You must remember that.
Well, that's intolerance. Yes, that.
Well,
I mean,
yes. I'm just saying that's occurred. So we know what intolerance is. We know what it is when it's extreme. But I think you have to be very careful when you start deciding who you don't want to listen to, because they might one day come after you. So this week it was Donald Trump, but maybe next month it will be you they come after, or us. You see? So that's my point.
Yeah, but that's, Twitter isn't a government agency, is it? It's a privately run.
Well,
and so therefore they can decide
yes, but
who they want on there and who they don't want on there.
I think they might be political because they've just flopped the president of the United States.
Well, I think they're worried that if they don't, do something about people who they think could be causing harm, then their whole site might be taken down.
So how many other politicians have been blocked from Twitter?
I don't know.
None.
Well, maybe they haven't said stupid things.
Yes.
There has to be a limit. I think there has to be a limit to what people
But the problem is, if you defend someone, they then assume that's what you think.
But I can't just go around.
I don't agree with
spouting off my views, religious. I can't just go out saying. I can't just go into society and say exactly what I want.
No, but that's society.
Because
it's Twitter. Twitter is on the internet. So don't forget, there is a difference between this. This thing you are watching now is the internet. Real life.
You're getting very. If I'd started this, Mr. Tucker, you would have cut me off a long time ago.
Well, because it's interesting.
Lewis's first car. Lewis's car is a Volkswagen. Let's get.
Okay.
Oh, but we can start arguing. We don't want to argue.
Valentin. See, Valentin says something very interesting. You wouldn't say these words if a mob arrived in Much Wenlock and settled down near your beautiful house. Thank you, Valentin. Well, no, they probably wouldn't, because we have the police. We have lots of authority here, different authorities that would take care of that. So I'm really talking about free speech right here in this little square box.
But we've got to be very careful what we say, because you'll be taken down if you say insulting things to people.
Yes. Well, I'm
not going to say, but there are limits to what you can say.
Yes. So have I said anything insulting today?
Well, not as far as I know.
No. Well, that's it then. That's that. So.
Yeah, but if you'd said something that was trying to incite people to violence.
Yes, but that's a different thing.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But you can't just. If you said that, should you just be allowed to carry on saying that?
No.
Well, that's it. Exactly.
No, you delete the tweet, which is what Twitter has been doing since it started. It can just press a button, and that tweet will just vanishes into thin air.
Yeah, but then
it happens.
Yeah, but then if you went on the next day and kept on saying it, and the next day and the next day, eventually,
But then if you do that, you're an idiot. So that's the difference.
Roses off.
Give people the chance to speak and allow themselves to reveal their stupidity.
I think that happened a long time ago with...
Yes, I know, but that's my point. Nothing was done about it for 4 years, and then suddenly everyone goes, "Oh, let's take it away. Oh, it's bad." You see?
Oh, well, let's come back to something, Mr. Duncan, that's a bit more, not quite so heavy.
No, well, I just thought it was interesting to mention. Because I hear the word tolerance used a lot, and I think a lot of people just use it without even thinking, because they say, I want people to be tolerant, and those that I disagree with should be removed and taken away and blocked. Well, that's not really...
Well, why are you suddenly getting so...
Oh, I'm not. I just thought it was an interesting subject. It's what we do.
Yeah, but it's a very controversial subject, Mr. Duncan. Another really overused... What about a really overused word at the moment?
Overused?
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
There's a word that everyone that comes on the television now uses to describe anything.
Anything that...
It's unprecedented.
It's unprecedented. Not president. That's a different thing.
Yes.
Precedent. So a precedent is something that happens that changes all of the rules. Something that's never happened before then suddenly comes along is something that is unprecedented. It's never happened before. So
there's a lot of unprecedented events, but we're just getting a bit sick and tired of people using that word.
We?
Us two. When we're watching the television, anybody that comes on now uses that word to describe anything. And if you keep overusing a word which... I mean, that word has impact. When you say the word unprecedented,
yes,
you're making a big, bold statement there. Well, so if you keep using that phrase, that word, the word then loses its power.
Yes.
And loses its ability to make you sit up and take notice.
That's literally what I've been saying for the last 15 minutes about tolerance. People just use the word without sort of thinking. We need more tolerance in the world, more tolerance, but without actually going, what am I saying there? So yes, it's the same thing, you see. So I don't think people who have bad opinions should be allowed to just walk around and say them. That's not what I'm saying. But we are most of us are fairly intelligent, and we can see when something is right and something is wrong. I mean, the current situation with coronavirus has brought out a lot of people with their own opinions, you see, but they are all still there, giving out their opinions. No one is taking them away or closing down their accounts. So anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, they should do. I think they should do, because I think at the moment people are making comments about...
That's not very tolerant.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying, the limits. If people are making unfactual remarks or remarks that are just not factual about the current situation...
Okay.
Then...
but what about anything?
I know, but I'm not saying anything.
What about people who think that the Earth is 600 years old?
What? Well, yeah, but that's fairly harmless to say something like that, isn't it?
Okay.
Because everybody knows it isn't. Or, you only have to... but if you start saying things that are wrong about the current coronavirus... well, there are some people, there's been a lot on the television this week
I'm not
about people who claim that the virus doesn't exist and all that sort of thing.
Yes, don't say those things, please.
I know, but I'm just saying that is something that I don't think you should tolerate, because that could cause the death of somebody. If somebody was watching that...
Oh, yes, okay,
and thought,
I've just said that.
I believe that, go out and catch the virus, then...
Okay, Anyway, that wasn't really what I was talking about. I was just talking about, if you say we need equality, then it has to be equal. You can't say everything is going to be equal, but I will still make the decision on whether you can do that thing or not. Well, that is not equal, you see. That's not equality. That's the opposite. That's favouritism.
But you can't just say what you like in any society.
You can on the internet.
Well, but you can't. You can't say what you like. You'd be taken down.
Well, anyway.
Anyway.
I just think you have to make sure that you enforce the rules equally. That's my point.
Well, there should be guidelines about, I mean, if you're saying anything that's going to harm other people,
yes,
or is factually incorrect,
okay,
then there should be there should be restrictions somewhere. You can't, anyway.
But it is a difficult one to decide. When do you decide that someone can or can't say something? What is my point is the line. Where is that line? I don't want you to answer it now, but I think that is an interesting question. Where is that line? Or do we just move the line when we choose to? So that's it.
Well,
anyway.
I think it changes, doesn't it, based on society's values and thoughts at that particular time.
Well,
I don't think there's.
I don't know what the values are at the moment. I really don't know.
Well, my point is just that you shouldn't. You can't just say what you like.
What if I said you had stinky pants?
Well, that's all right.
Oh, okay.
That's just offensive to me. That's not inciting violence or being factually incorrect about something that could affect my health or my well-being.
That is true.
Although it might affect your health and well-being if it was true. Which it isn't, by the way.
I might get a slap from.
Not true.
I might get a slap from.
I've got clean pants on today. I can assure you.
You seem to be. You are protesting quite a lot there.
The line is the laws, says Mohammed. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Well,
we have laws in place to control.
Yes. Well, that's true.
A lot of things, but yeah. Anyway, right.
But we still let people out of prison.
Well, if they've served their time, and because if we didn't let people out of prison, we'd have to keep building a prison every week.
That's it.
Because there would not be enough prisons to hold all the criminals.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we don't have many in Much Wenlock.
Anyway, no, we don't. Well, maybe two at least.
There could be an angry mob coming up our driveway as we speak, and we don't even know.
I don't think so. I don't think. But there is sometimes it is important to make sure you understand the difference between the internet and reality. So when I go outside the house, I know that isn't the internet. So my way of behaving changes. But when you're on the internet, you do things that you wouldn't normally do.
Valentine has just arrived.
Probably best to leave that there.
I think so. I don't know what you're doing when you're going out, Mr. Duncan.
I was on about the internet.
Well, you haven't been banned yet after 14 years, so you must be doing something right, Mr. Duncan.
That is true.
I'm late today, says Valentine. A lot of people are late today, but it doesn't matter.
That's all right.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
You arrive when you arrive. You've got other things going on in your life. You can just turn up when you like.
I can't believe you missed Pedro Belmont. Pedro's there.
Pedro is here. Where?
Yes.
Well,
I on the live chat.
Where is Pedro? Did you see Flags of the World, Pedro?
Yes, Pedro says, what is the subject? Well, we're talking about lots of things. We were looking at spelling mistakes earlier on. And also we had Flags of the World at 3:00. So half an hour ago, we were all looking at the Flags of the World. But I think you might have missed that, Pedro. You might have missed it. Anyway.
You are responsible for whatever you're doing or saying on the internet.
Unless, of course, you are anonymous. And you just make a name that isn't you. And then just say what you want. So it is hard. I'm not saying I have the solution. But I do find the subject quite fascinating when we talk about these things. What is when you cross the line? And if they change the line, maybe one day you and I will not be allowed to come on the internet because maybe suddenly what we think and say or are is no longer acceptable.
Well, maybe we ought to keep our opinions to ourselves because this is an English teaching channel.
Yes, well, we talk about English. We talk about all sorts of subjects.
Yes. It's just like it's just like you've got a dog. If you've got a pet,
okay.
If you've got a pet, you're responsible for that pet.
Yes,
you can't. You're not responsible for its nature.
No, but
the dog has that nature, but you're responsible for its behaviour. So you're responsible for what you're saying.
But fortunately, your dog doesn't have access to the internet.
I know, but you could think of your dog as everyone's got that part of them that. Difficult to control, might just come out with things and not think first. We've all got that sort of animal inside us that is screaming away at us, telling us to say things or do things, but the human part of us has to control that.
Steve, I think, Steve, I don't know anyone else that has that, by the way. There must be something
We've
wrong
all
with
got
you.
it. We've all got this primitive brain
I think that might be just you.
working away inside us, trying to help us survive. But
Okay.
it's
Anyway.
like a wild animal. We have to control it.
Okay. I still don't know what does that have to do with dogs?
Well, because somebody said you're responsible for what you're doing and saying on the internet.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Just as you're responsible for your dog.
But,
Anyway.
but my point is, what are the lines? Where is the line? So
Well, that's
sometimes
yeah.
we move the line there, and then we move it there, and then we move it over there, and so there isn't any stability with those rules, because one person's opinion is another person's hatred. You see, so it's interesting. Anyway,
Well, it moves for certain things. I mean, it doesn't
yes.
move for like murder.
Tom Eck has
That's pretty
said,
much intolerant all the time.
"Oh my goodness, how can?
But,
But you can't murder someone on the internet. You know that, don't you?
Are you just talking about the internet? I could stab you
Well-
right now. I could strangle you, Mr. Duncan, right in. I'm not going to do that. But
What?
I'm sure people have been murdered online.
What? You can reach out your screen.
I can't murder other people, no.
No.
I could verbally be abusive to people.
Okay.
Not that I'm going to be.
Yes.
But do you think we'll still be on after this this show?
We've
Mr.
talked
Duncan?
about worse things than this. This is nothing. This is actually a mild
Who
subject.
has the right to move the line,
Yes.
says Kyle.
Well, yes, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle Liang, I think maybe you understand my point.
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, there's laws in place for certain things, but for other things there aren't. I think the line is moved up or down depending on current opinion
Yes.
in society.
So maybe one day, anything we're saying, somebody moves the line, and then suddenly you and I are gone. That's it.
Well,
Sorry.
that could
You see?
happen.
Yes.
But I mean, just as the same as it was for women's rights, until not that long ago,
Yes.
women's rights wasn't a thing that happened, and women
Hmm.
couldn't vote. But that tolerance level moved, and then the laws changed
Yes.
as well.
Okay.
But yes, opinion changes.
Yes. But we always move forward, surely, each time, and not
Well,
back.
not
and-
necessarily.
well,
I mean, but look at societies at the moment. What's happening in certain parts of the world where there might have been tolerance for freedom of speech, and that's now gone.
I can't think of any place that's done that. But
Well,
Okay.
I'm thinking of Hong Kong.
oh, okay then. I
For
suppose
example.
Hong Kong, but then that's not actually Hong Kong doing it. That's China.
Yeah, but
next door.
I know it is, but that's an example of where a country
If you want to,
had it advanced to a certain level.
if you want to look at
And now-
censorship, by the way, censorship,
Careful what you say, Mr. Duncan.
banning stuff. China is probably the place that is probably top of
What
the
about
list.
YouTube?
It's very well.
YouTube,
YouTube doesn't exist in China.
No, but I meant, don't
Oh.
they have their own sort of? Don't they determine
Yes,
what they want on their channel
But
and what
that's-
they don't want?
But that's the terms of service that you have to sign. So you have agreed to that. So that, again, that's different because you're using YouTube's site. YouTube says these are our terms of service, and then you have to sign that and agree with it, you see. So that's, again, different. So if I do something and I know that YouTube doesn't allow it, then yes, I might be punished. But that's different from just having free speech. It's still not the same thing because that is the contract that has taken place.
Well, that's it. Yes,
The contract is we have freedom of speech, and that's it. So there isn't a terms of service on the internet. I've never signed anything on the internet that is a terms of service for the internet. Never.
Not quite sure what you're saying,
Never-
Mr. Duncan. I think we
never
ought to
happened.
move on. But you have for YouTube, you have
Yeah.
to abide by certain etiquette, don't you? And you
Kadir-
can't just say what you like.
Anyway, Kadir says, is this live? Yes, it is. We're on now, Kadir. This is live at 3:38. Nearly 20 minutes away from 4 o'clock. But it's fine, I think conversation, I think Conversation should always take place, whatever it is, even if you disagree with it. And as long as it's done in the open so other people can see it. You see, when it disappears and hides away, that's when problems begin.
Yeah, but anyway, Mr. Duncan, are we going to have the sentence game?
The sentence game is coming up, yes.
We've only got 20 minutes.
That's all right, don't worry about it.
Is it controversial words?
We have all the time in the world. Oh, by the way, we had a cake sent to us this week, Steve. Not a real cake, but it was through the internet. Look at that. That is a caramel cake.
Okay.
Sent in to us, not real, through the internet. So this is an internet cake, not to be confused with a real cake, which is one you can eat. So you don't bite into this cake, please, because you will break your teeth on your computer monitor.
It looks delicious.
Yes, it's a caramel cake from Marshmallow Adam. Thank you very much for that. I couldn't resist showing that because now I'm feeling a little bit hungry.
Nisar's admiring my new shirt. It's actually not new, but thank you. I have worn it before, but not very often.
It's I would say that the colouring is subtle.
Nisar always admires what I'm wearing.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes. Right. Sentence game, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, is that what you want to do now?
Well, we've only got 20 minutes, I'm hungry.
Who wants to play the sentence game? If you want to play the sentence game, please raise your hands on the internet. Because it's all real. I can see all of you. I know what you're doing, especially you. What are you doing? I can't believe you're doing that whilst we're talking to you. Put some clothes on, for goodness sake. Oh, how rude. Deep, 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 deep. Steve just said, if I said that, you would have gone mad.
Laura's in Chicago. It's 9:30. Hello, Laura. We don't get many people watching in the USA, and we had a few last week, so it's nice to see you here. Please spread it around because Mr. Duncan wants 100,000 new subscribers this year in order to reach 1 million subscribers. That's your target, your goal.
Well,
not just to survive, but to actually get 100,000 new subscribers to reach 1 million subscribers by the end of this year.
So now we are approaching 900,000 subscribers. We are coming towards that now. So I hope by the end of this year, or maybe by August, hopefully maybe I can celebrate my birthday in August, and also maybe we will have 1 million.
You mean if you survive? Which hopefully you will.
Yes, well, that's my aim. I'm determined to survive and stay alive.
Well, let's assume you're going to survive.
Yes, that's good.
Because if that's all you're focused on, you won't be focusing on getting 100,000 subscribers. So what will help
I can focus
for
on
you to get 100,000 subscribers?
I can focus on more than one thing.
If people do the like button, does that mean you get spread around the internet more?
Yes, if you get like 100,000 likes, not 20 or 30. So if you get thousands of likes, then YouTube will notice that.
Yes.
But if you get just 50 or 100, then no.
Isn't it Pedro that was always encouraging everybody to like? Because if you like Mr. Duncan, YouTube will spread Mr. Duncan around a bit more.
Yes.
And the chances are he will get more subscribers. So just something, please help Mr. Duncan to get to 100,000 subscribers.
Yes. 100,000? Oh, I want 1 million.
I know, this year. But
okay.
You want an extra 100,000.
Yes. Kyle.
Spread Mr. Duncan everywhere.
Kyle
like
Liang agrees with me because he is in China. You can't say anything you want. I have to use a VPN, so an external internet connection, which registers then in a different part of the world.
You do realise you'll never be able to go back to China now because
Well,
they'll probably listen to your
Can I just say,
comment.
I'm probably never going back to China anyway, so I haven't really lost anything.
I think you'd like to go
I
back.
don't think China will have me back, to be honest. I'm
Not after that comment.
I'm a bad boy.
Oh,
Yes.
sentence game.
Okay, the sentence game is coming, Steve. What's wrong?
I'm just waiting.
Waiting for what?
The sentence game.
Well, it's here. We're doing it now.
I can't see any words on the screen, Mr. Duncan.
No, well, I have to press the button first, you see. I have to take my finger over there, and then I have to press it with my little digit. There it is, look. We have the sentence game, random words.
Random words, right?
We have plenty of time. There is no rush. We have all the time in the world.
Look at that. Whale allergy. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Or Vale. I've sent your channel to all English groups that are new in WhatsApp. Thank you.
That's it.
There we go. That will help Mr. Duncan to spread around the internet and get an extra 100,000 subscribers.
Thank you,
1
Wael.
million.
Wael allergy.
you.
Allergy.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Predator also says, I always promote Mr. Duncan's channel. This is different, you see, from all the rest. So yes, we
Certainly been different today, Mr. Duncan.
well, why?
Got a bit controversial.
It's not controversial. It's just talking.
We'll watch it later and see if we think it's controversial.
Promise not to cry, though.
Sometimes we do watch it later
And Steve,
just to see if we say anything.
you know, if I say something mean to Steve, he starts crying. By the way, I have to comfort him.
Don't cry.
He goes, "Why did you say that about me on the live stream?"
Yes, and I put less butter on his
What? less butter on what?
I put less butter on your buns,
Oh, okay.
on your tea cake, because Mr. Duncan likes lots of butter on his tea cake.
I like it.
So if he's
What?
upset me in the live stream, I only put a little bit on, or I burn it in the toaster
That's all right. I
just to annoy him.
I just throw it out to the birds. I just give it to the birds. Oh dear.
15 minutes. We may stay a bit longer. Were you late on today?
No, I was exactly on time. I started today's live stream at exactly 2:00, and yes, you can watch the replay later. And I was exactly on time. Okay, then sentence game. Here it is, as a welcome change to what we were talking about earlier. Here is today's first sentence game. So for those who haven't played it before, we have missing words, and there is a sentence, and you can see how many letters each missing word has, and also what the missing word begins with. I thought I explained that very well. I did. I deserve some sort of treat. Maybe a little pat on the head, like a good dog.
If we get a 9-letter word beginning with T, I think we'll be able to guess what that is. Today?
I could see then. I could see you were. That's why you were going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You were counting then.
I was wondering whether you were going to put the word tolerant into any of today's sentence games.
Well, how do you know I haven't?
Well,
Yes.
watch out for it. Is it 9 letters? Probably 9 letters, I think, intolerant.
Intolerant. No, that has 11.
Well, intolerant. No, tolerant.
Well, you just said intolerant.
I didn't. I said tolerant.
You said how many letters? Intolerant. Intolerant. has-
Intolerant.
Yes.
Not how many letters in intolerant.
No.
How many letters in
in intolerant.
tolerant.
In intolerant.
Yeah, if I'd have said in intolerant, it would have been. Anyway. Who's going to be first today?
I don't know.
There was a bit of pleasant sort of competition going on last week.
Anyway.
And let's see who is first today. Although we shouldn't say let's see who's first. This isn't a race,
No.
or is it?
Well, it's not a race. It's not a contest. It's not a competition. It's just a little bit of fun on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes. To explain the meanings of words and to just help you think more about constructing sentences.
Yes.
Uh,
Sounds good to me.
Ah, right, okay.
You've been something with that something all day. Now it is something something.
Ah, right. Oh, I think Vitas might be.
Valeria. Valeria. Also. Alessandra. You are very close, Alessandra. Very near, but not quite. Not
Oh, hang
exactly.
on, Giovanni. Giovanni maybe was first. Oh, no. Mora. Valentin. Oh, you've all been very quick today. Playing toy. My time. Valentin was first.
I like the way you're reading out the answers.
Well, I think we've got it, but Mora was very quick as well. But Valentin, I think Valentin has got it. Am I right?
Valentin, let's have a look. No.
Really?
No. Can you believe it? But someone else has got it right. Mora has actually got it right. The right words. But yes, I know what you mean. You could also have some other words there instead. But the one that I was looking for...
Well, yes. It fits. I don't
Yes.
think we can take that away from Valentin.
Yes.
Because that will fit just as well as time or turn will fit.
Yes. Okay.
Now it's my time.
I haven't
now
showed.
it's my turn.
I haven't showed the answer yet. So here it is. The answer coming up. Would you like? I know Mr. Steve loves this. He loves it when the cockerel pops up. Did you enjoy that?
What happened? I didn't see or hear anything.
My little cockerel said hello. Here's the
Little
answer.
being the right word.
Here's the answer. Whatever. Yes, we have playing toy my turn. Not time.
Well,
but
time fits though.
It does fit.
It fits, so you couldn't distinguish really between those two words. Time or turn.
Yes.
So actually, Valentin and Mora were both correct.
You've been playing with that toy all day. Now it is my turn. It's my turn. So what does that mean when we say something is my turn? It's my turn.
How else could you describe that? Yes, it's
It's time
Sure.
for me to do that.
yes.
It's time for me. I am the next person in line. So maybe if you are standing in a line of people and then one person is called and then the next person is waiting, they are waiting for their turn. They are waiting for their name to be called out. So their opportunity, their chance or their turn. So you've been playing with that toy all day. Now it is my turn.
Or
turn.
my time.
Yes.
Or my time.
Yes.
Either of those will fit. Which is, I love it when people come up with alternative words that fit the criteria.
Yes. So pretty good. I like it.
Well done to that.
If I seem distracted, it's because the internet is playing up.
Is it?
Slightly.
Somebody else? Oh, yeah, somebody said something's gone wrong with the connection.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right when we're in the most interesting part of the show.
Is it?
I bet there's an issue.
This always happens. I think.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Shall we ask? Is everything all right? Can you hear and
Yes.
see us?
It's. I bet it's our internet.
Can you tell if something's going wrong, Mr. Duncan?
Well, it's always going wrong here.
It went wrong 14 years ago. No.
I think it's all right. I think it's okay. I think you just have to bear with us.
Might be a little glitch, glitch,
Yes, it's
a temporary fault,
yes, probably our internet. Yes.
a glitch, something that's a small issue
Okay.
that probably can be easily fixed.
Yes, hopefully. I think all of the people in Much Wenlock are playing on their Xboxes. That's what it is. They're sucking up. They're taking away my internet bandwidth. How dare they?
The stream keeps lagging. A lot of people are saying that. So it must be us if... So can you tell us, is it any better?
Yes, we'll see.
Is it any better? Is it still going wrong? Or does it seem to have settled down the internet?
Yes.
Freezing. Well, we know it's cold. Oh, I see what you mean. Freezing just means something stops.
Okay.
Oh, I was joking. Have we got a problem with the... We can't see that there's a problem, can
No,
we?
I'm just doing a couple of things here just to see if I can make it work a little bit better. But yes, we do get these little glitches sometimes, these slight problems that occur now and again. So I'm just going to close some of the things on my computer to see if it makes any difference.
We do have actually a very fast connection here in Much Wenlock.
Sometimes.
But I think sometimes there is a little issue.
Let's-
You've got a lot of things open there, Mr. Duncan.
Open. Well, not lots of things open. Let me just. I'm going to close some of the things on my computer. See if that makes any difference. I don't think it will, to be honest. I personally don't think it makes any difference.
I can't hear the fan really going fast on your internet, on your computer, which would indicate that it's using up all its processing power.
My computer is always working busily. Let's have another.
Can you hear? Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Is it fixed? People are still making comments, so I'm guessing it's okay.
Okay. Maybe that has solved the problem. We will see. We will see what happens. Okay, then, let's get back to what we were doing. The sentence game, here is the second one. Would you like another sentence game? Here we go. Another sentence game. We may have solved the problem. Yeah, it's interesting.
Can you tell, Mr. Duncan?
Well, it looks like it's no longer lagging. So
Good.
It looks like it's not lagging anymore. Interesting.
Good grief.
We may have solved the problem.
Oh, yes. Oh, I thought that was the answer to the question. Judika's answering the last one. I thought that was...
Here is the next sentence game. I can't something that make something. They can't something. Oh, I think that's a pretty good one. I can't something that make something. They can't something. Oh, I think this one is a little bit more difficult, would you say? I think it's a little harder. And I think I fixed the internet as well. I think it seems to be working all right now. How strange. I think my computer was having a slight... Sometimes my computer starts choking.
Was it being intolerant towards you, Mr. Duncan?
My computer is being intolerant towards me.
Now it's better, says Vittoria. Thank you.
How strange. I must remember that.
Mr. Fix-It.
Yes. You see me? See how good I am at solving the problems? Nice.
Good. Yeah, it is. It's fine now.
So here we go. The latest sentence game is now on the screen. I can't something that makes something. They can't something. Something that is annoying, maybe. Something that you can't bear. Something you don't like that other something do. Any ideas? Any ideas? Anyone?
Maybe because of the delay, then we might have to wait a little longer for to get some answers to the sentence game,
Yes.
the second sentence game.
There is always a delay, don't forget. It would appear to be better now. Oh, thank you. Oh,
Good.
Mr. Duncan, you've solved the problem. Thank you. Oh.
Better now. It's not working very well in India, says Nisar. 4 minutes of delay, says
Yes.
Giovanni.
Well, if you, I can help you there. You have to click live. So there is a little button at the bottom that says live. Click that and then you will be back up to the live stream. So there might be a slight delay. If there is a delay, you can always click live down there. There's a little button that says live. Click that. Or, of course, you can just refresh the page as well. If you refresh the page, open the page again, you will then get the live stream up to date.
Still a few problems. People are
It's taking me such a long time today to explain these things.
yeah, some people it's okay. Yes, I think maybe as you suggested, you need to refresh.
Oh.
Where would people refresh?
Yes, it was doing it again then. I can't believe all we're talking about at the moment is the poor internet connection.
Well, there's no answers yet to the sentence game, so I'm guessing
Yes.
there is quite a delay that has...
But you don't have to have the delay. You can press live at the bottom of the screen.
Press
and then-
live.
and then it'll take you up to. But then you can't see me saying this. You see, this is the paradox. We have another paradox, Steve. So I'm telling you to click live to jump forward, but you're not watching me live, so you won't hear me saying that.
I can't tell if people are replying to what we're saying or answering the sentence game. Problem continues sadly.
This is good. I hope you're enjoying this. It's not normally like this. Normally everything works perfectly well, you see.
Are those answers to the... Oh, no, those answers... Yeah, okay.
Okay. Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle Liang says, try to use the Starlink satellite. I like that, yes. I have a feeling this is actually our internet, you know. I think it's our internet doing this. Sometimes our internet is a little poor because it keeps buffering when you get that little circle on your screen. Buffer. So the computer is trying to catch up with what the live stream is doing.
Right, so how can we solve that, Mr. Duncan?
Well, it looks like we can't because it's still doing it.
Right. Yes, it's not working.
No, it's
Lots
not
of
working
people are saying
very.
it's not working.
It's not working very well. It's buffering, I believe, is what they call it.
Can you see if you're on your phone whether the signal?
Yes. It doesn't.
Meant, generally. Well, it looks all right, doesn't it? The
Well,
internet.
it keeps buffering. It's
yeah,
buffering.
but I meant the internet signal on our devices.
Well,
says it's all
that's
right.
through the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
That's just the Wi-Fi signal.
but if that's all right, surely.
Well,
everything
that's
else
not.
should be all right.
But the Wi-Fi signal isn't your internet. That's just the signal from the Wi-Fi. I think you'll find. Anyway,
Looks like it's not working.
Are you enjoying this insight?
Oh, here we go. Tomek's given us an answer. Oh well, so is Armin. Some people are getting through.
Yes, we have Armin, Tomek, and Mura. It looks as if they are all correct as well.
Ah, right.
So Armin, Tomek, and also Mura.
All three came in at exactly the same time.
Yes.
So you're not copying each other. You're all just getting it
Yes. Good.
individually. So I think the people who've got it first have got are still being able to see us properly, and aren't having a problem seeing us.
Brilliant.
Vittorio, as well. Vitas. Yeah, I think we've got correct answers, Mr. Duncan.
Okay, and I have a feeling this is going to be the last one, unfortunately, because we have some technical problems. Here it is then, the final. But I tell you what, next Sunday, we will do some extra ones next week,
Okay.
if everything's working. Mr. Cockerell just said hello.
Tatiana has got it right as well. It's all working again now, Mr. Duncan. Oh, it doesn't seem to be on there, though.
No, it
Right.
keeps buffering. So it works, and then it buffers, and then it works, and then it starts buffering.
Pratic, yes.
I think that is actually our internet connection. That's us, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but I think it is actually our internet connection. No, we don't have the Starlink, but that's a good idea, actually. When Starlink is available here in England, maybe I will have that instead. So Starlink.
What's that, Mr. Duncan?
Have you heard of that? It's internet from space. It's space internet from Elon Musk. So at the moment, Elon Musk is sending all those satellites into space. And what he's going to eventually have is hundreds of satellites going around the world, around the Earth. And then you can pick up the internet from space. Yes. So the answer...
We haven't got that yet.
As the answer, I can't stand people that make promises they can't keep.
A lot of people got that right,
Yes.
so well done.
That's good. So there it is. I'll leave the answer on the screen for a few more moments. And then that is it for the sentence game. Sorry about the technical problems, but I don't know. I have a feeling it is our internet connection. I think it's here. So that's all I can say about that. I'm sorry about that, but